Hey guys, welcome to Filamchi. This is Nitin. Today we are talking my favorite show currently on. It's Fargo season 4. I've been doing reviews since last week. I reviewed the first 2 episodes last week. It's going to be a spoiler-filled review. I've told time and time again, there are things that Fargo does that just absolutely floor me. That's why it's my favorite weekly thing to watch, as I often compare it to my favorite drink. Those elements were there this week too. Although Noah Hawley just wrote this one, he didn't direct this one like the last two. This one had those classic Fargo things, that those artsy split screens, set design, the writing, everything that I'm a fan of, right? But more than that, the first 30 to 40 minutes I think was more of a build up of an episode of setting the chessboard for the season to come. There was a new character introduced. I think quite a few characters introduced, despite this being like a third episode in the season. I think couple, but one of them seems major, which was Defi. He was the Mormon cop that was out from the other county who'd come to catch these two crooks. Our lead's mother's sister and her girlfriend. The names can get too much, but I do remember the relationships and how it's all laid out. And again, the first 2 episodes I think were very potent in getting us into the Kansas City, the gangster culture in the 50s, the whole setup for the previous 50 years, how they have their trade and their ransom of the youngest sons, was also interesting stuff. But this time when the Mormon comes, I just realized something that we saw last 2 weeks too. It's like characters here, they use stories / anecdotes / ramblings, if you may, as a sort of layer into their character. And you see that with the Mormons' initial story, right? And because of a lot of fascism and racism and ethnic cleansing in those times, as we've seen humans do, so sometimes they don't even have to introduce themselves. The sheriff calls them you are still outlawed to be here, because I think there's an order out on Mormons in Kansas City. But this guy would just say his life story, and late in the episode, again, Chris Rock's right hand black guy, I guess, on a negotiation table with the Italians, he just talks about his life story. And I know we see this in a lot of gangster movies, and especially the show, where people say everything in subtext. The gangsters and all, the other guy gets it without saying it. I don't know if it would have happened to this extent, where they just tell you a story, and it's such a loaded story, and it can get so dark. There's another story that I don't think I'll be able to forget. That's just a line, to be honest. But there's this character who's again our leads, the black girl's leads mother's sister's girlfriend. I think she talks about how her father, we're not sure what kind of a physical force it was, but her father used to strangle her or something. And she talks about people say houses are haunted, but it's not the houses that are haunted. And that line, that was so powerful. My god, such a potent line. And Fargo being Fargo, in the first episode, last shot I think, or maybe it might be the second episode after the pie, we go back to the nurse, who's again a rollicking fun character here in terms of total crazy psycho. But we see a boogeyman of sorts standing, and this haunting line sort of made me think that might come together, because again in season 2 we've seen the supernatural element, and spoilers for season 2, the whole alien element. It was going through the season, you never knew what the hell will happen, and then it comes like a Deus Ex Machina, what they call it, right? In the end, that spaceship comes. So interesting to see where the whole haunting storyline goes. But again, coming to how the first 40 minutes laid out, I think a lot of chess pieces being set up. The nurse's scene in the car, the hand job, and the whole cocaine out of nowhere thing. Oh my god, super crazy, super fun. Her character is totally bonkers. Love seeing her. But then in the last 20 minutes, I think that's where the shit hits the fan, right? When Gaetano and Gaetano, right, that character too. A lot of people call him like a cartoonish villain, but I think there's a menacing quality, especially his eyes. What a great actor, man. So when he sort of goes against his brother's will and wants to attack Chris Rock's elder son, despite the youngest children being sort of ransom exchanged between the families, and he tests Irish's, and who is one of my favorite characters in the show now, Irish. That's why I have that frame up. Irish's loyalty to the family. With his hitman, he sends these guys to take out Chris Rock's elder son, and Irish's thinking and complications there tell me a lot about him. And we've seen this is such a complicated character. Like, he's betrayed his blood family once, he's betrayed the other family that he was exchanged to once. So he always thinks about those children in the middle of all that. That's why, like, before shooting, he wanted to make sure that it was the actual boss who had ordered and not Gaetano, because of the whole Italian power struggle. But he also wanted to just think about Zero, like the brother from his family, because he knew if he shoots him down, Chris Rock would automatically kill him. That's the whole point of ransom, right? And that's exactly what happens. Chris Rock says, despite the attack not going successful, they should have just hanged this guy by their child by the tree, the youngest one there. So great thinking by him. And then he defies him, and I will probably go to the older brother, and the whole power struggle will happen. But I really liked it, especially his character. Excited to see where it goes. And then the final bank robbery scene, I wasn't big on the pie gimmick. I thought that pie would do much more damage than it did, but still, like, a fun scene was in. Overall, this episode I thought was, again, classic Fargo. Good fun last 20 minutes. A lot of action happened, but before that, so much of stories and those, that classic Fargo. Nice writing that got me through. Excited to see where the season goes. I think it's still a solid episode this week that we got. Probably a 3.515, right on track. I am loving these episodes, man. Can't wait to see the next episode. Tell me if you guys been following. Are you huge fans? Tell me in the comments what did you think about this episode. Till then, this is me signing off and saying keep filming.